have to rebuild the infrastructure of the United States. We're spending money supporting countries that don't even like us. We're giving military weapons to countries that flee as soon as they hear a bullet is shot. Who likes the idea of the wall? I love it. Somebody said, you can't build a wall. You know, the Great Wall of China is 13,000 miles. This wall is 2,000. It's really less, but you really need 1,000. So they could do 2,000 years ago, they could build the Great Wall of China. But then they say, how do you build 1,000 miles? Give me a break. So easy, and it'll be great. People want to see real change, not Obama change, but real change, really positive. And you know what they want to see more than anything else? They want to see victory. We don't have victories anymore. This country doesn't have victories anymore. And they're going to see so many victories, they may get tired of winning that much. I don't know. It's possible they'll get tired of winning that much. You're going to see so many victories if I'm elected president.
That was 2016 Republican frontrunner Donald Trump talking to the press earlier tonight before an event around Boston. As we've seen, Trump is never afraid to speak his mind. He almost always does. He did it again this week and made headlines for his comments about taxes. Here's part of what he said.
I would let people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year pay some tax, because right now they're paying very little tax, and I think it's outrageous.
You're proposing that you'd like to raise taxes on yourself in this instance.
That's right. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I'm, ready, willing, and you see my statements. I mean, I do very well. I don't mind paying some tax. The middle class is getting clobbered in this country. You know, the middle class built this country, not the hedge fund guys.
So conservatives like Trump by and large, but here he is calling for tax increases. What gives? Joining me now with reaction from the Fox Business Network, Charles Gasparino, and Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Welcome to you both.
Hi there.
I'm kind of bewildered by this, I guess, as I am on a bunch of other issues. I'll start with you, Charles. You know Trump really well. He doesn't have orthodox conservative views, to put it mildly, and yet conservatives love him. Here's another example. What's going on?
He was never a conservative until maybe 10 minutes ago. I personally like Donald a lot. Personally, I think he's a great businessman. He hasn't spent a dime on this campaign, yet he's #1 in the polls. I mean a dime. I mean, maybe to fuel his jet, but he spent almost nothing. He doesn't have a tax plan. And what little we know about what he wants to do, he sounds a lot like Hillary Clinton. He wants to tax some rich people. He wants to give the middle class people a tax cut. He hates hedge funds. I think the reason why he hates hedge funds, and I've heard this from others, is because they're all supporting Jeb Bush. So what easier way to get back at Bush's supporters than say, hey, guys, I'm going to tax you.
And yet, I wonder, Tammy, I mean, getting bogged down in the details of Trump's proposals is impossible because there aren't any. But I wonder if maybe that's missing the point. The truth is, small segments of our society are really prospering, as they never have before, and then huge parts of it are drowning or dying. The middle of the country's dying. If you've been there recently, you know. Isn't he speaking to that frustration?
Well, he is clearly. I mean, he's clearly running not as a conservative, but as a populist. And that's, I think, becoming very apparent. These are messages that even Elizabeth Warren could send.
Right.
The issue is, though, genuine conservatism is about having everybody pay less tax, having there be more freedom, having it be about smaller government, right? Not about this kind of doing this 1% against everyone else again. So that's concerning. However, after 7 years of being punched in the face every day and a president who clearly seems to not like us, it's interesting to hear a man who is appealing to, I think, some very base feelings, which are legitimate. But the answer is not playing the same game in a different way, but in freeing up the tax dynamic. And a flat tax, I think, in general is a good idea as well. But he's not speaking to that. And look, there are no details. But Barack Obama had no details. And the last conservative we had was George W. Bush.
Well, Barack Obama had details.
And it was
wait, can I ask a question?
Medicare Part D, and he started the nationalized
But it's a different
healthcare.
world, though. It's bad to crush the top 1% if they're the innovators, the entrepreneurs, the people making things. But if they're just people who happen to be rich because they're close to power, maybe it isn't a bad idea.
Go to upstate New York, which isn't a far drive from here, and you'll understand why his message is resonating with Republican voters who are white, working class people who have seen their, generally their paychecks get smaller. I mean, I think Donald is brilliant. Somebody, either he did it or someone sat down and said, let's get 5 issues that we know that a big portion of the Republican electorate who isn't rich, who doesn't come from Wall Street, who's not part of the entrepreneurial class, who's working class, and what they feel most threatened by: immigration, the fact that these Wall Street fat cats are making money and you're not, and there's a couple other China, that the Chinese are.
Those are all real things, though.
They're real things, they're real things. But are they at the top? Is that what's causing us?
Well, I don't know.
Economic hardship. The problem with the economy post the financial crisis is that you had a financial crisis and you had President Obama looking to heap taxes and regulations and slow down the economy.
Let me flip it around for Tammy. Why should Republican candidates feel morally bound to defend hedge funds?
Well, I think that it's whenever you can argue it in that the government shouldn't be launching into this kind of position anyway, that's not the enemy, that's a shiny squirrel. That the enemy is a government that is so gigantic, it's grown into its lounge chair and wants more pizza. This is the argument of,
What a repulsive image.
His answer is, but let me finish. His answer is there has to be more government intervention, more taxes, more of this, whereas the genuine answer, and even a genuinely populist answer, is we want infrastructure and want laws, but we want you to back off. But I think this is about appealing to certain people's emotions. But a lot of conservatives I know, if you deal with immigration properly, then they'll almost give him a blank check to do anything else because it affects so many
sectors. That's true. Really quick.
He's making Rubio, all these other guys, Walker and Jeb, look like little people. And how's he doing that?
Exactly.
The white working class, which is this sort of, what they used to call it, the Nixon used to call it the
silent majority.
The silent majority, which used to give the Republican Party an edge in many elections, doesn't care about the capital gains tax cut. They don't care about that, and they have boycotted the Republican Party in the last couple elections.
Totally true.
And Republicans have not been conservative. You haven't seen a Republican Party that we can say is conservative, so maybe this is the next best option.
And why not be the party of the middle class? No one else is doing it.
Right.
Anyway, we're out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up next, right here on the Hannity program.
I do believe that there's a lot of growing consensus out there that combat weapons should not be available for sale.
He didn't buy an assault rifle. He bought a handgun. None of the laws they're pushing would have done anything about it.
In the wake of that awful shooting earlier this week in Virginia, 2016 presidential candidates are weighing in on the gun control debate. Boy, are they. Smoke was still in the air and they were talking about it. We'll tell you what they said. Plus, Hillary Clinton compares her Republican rivals to ISIS because some of them support minor restrictions on abortion. And now the RNC is demanding an apology. Will they get one? We've got Governor Mike Huckabee joining us in a minute to weigh in.